Hey everybody, Josh Sigurdson of World Alternative Media, and more countries in Africa are shutting down the World Health Organization. And while this is very good news, there's more to the story than just that. Before we get into the news today, make sure to hit that like button and check those links below. Join our new newsletter at iamband.com. Find us on BitChute, find us on Flote, and as many of you might know, we were just demonetized by YouTube for not following the World Health Organization guidelines. So anything you guys can do to help us really, truly means a lot. And I thank everyone who has so far. Seriously, thank you very much. Anyway, let's get into the news here. As many of you know, and we've reported on, Tanzania has kicked out the World Health Organization after goat and papaya samples came COVID-19 positive. The tests from the World Health Organization were faulty, and they kicked out the World Health Organization. They started opening things up, and now, of course, the mainstream media is saying that Tanzania is covering up the real numbers of coronavirus deaths. They might be covering up deaths. I don't know what's happening there, but one thing I do know is that the mainstream media is now claiming that them opening the country a couple days ago has led to an insane amount of overwhelming deaths, even though not even enough time has passed by since they opened it up for everyone to have caught it. So if anyone had caught this bioweapon, it would have been caught before they opened things up. So it's a faulty story, it's a faulty headline, and I want to get into another country here that is expelling the World Health Organization, and this is no endorsement of the country or governments themselves, but it's an interesting story that we should go into. As the Zero Hedge article says, Burundi becomes second African nation to expel World Health Organization. Tanzania isn't the only African country that's asked the World Health Organization to pack its things and get out. Reuters reports that Burundi is expelling the national head of the World Health Organization and 3 of his subordinates as the country prepares for a presidential election that is being held next week. The World Health Organization had repeatedly raised concerns, claiming holding the vote during the middle of the pandemic wouldn't be prudent. These claims obviously irritated the government, which is pushing to hold the country's first election since President Pierre Nkurunziza stepped down in 2018. A successor candidate from Nkurunziza's party is strongly favored to win. His government has been accused of human rights abuses and has previously kicked out UN representatives and other investigating human rights abuses, but opposition candidates are openly contesting the vote, and any suppression tactics have been largely hidden from view. And I do want to note that any government is guilty of human rights abuses by their very existence. Also, we have to remember that in Zimbabwe, after they massacred a bunch of people and caused hyperinflation, all these horrible things, the United Nations wanted to put Mugabe, who's now dead, thankfully, at the top of their Human Rights Committee at the United Nations. So the UN has absolutely no right to call any country out on human rights abuses. Since their inception, they have been absolutely terroristic in their approach of wars throughout the world under the guise of peacekeeping. We'll get back to that in a moment, but I want to continue on with the article here. As it says, many critics of the government and the opposition criticize the decision, though notably nobody is advocating for the election to be canceled, a sign that the World Health Organization's insistence wasn't popularly received. The campaign has already involved many gatherings where people were crowded together, and many suspect that the true toll of the virus isn't reflected in the official numbers, unlike in the US where they call everything coronavirus. It's weird how governments are manipulative. Wow, amazing. As it says here, all 4 officials have been given until Friday to leave the country. The government confirmed on Thursday that a May 12th letter from the Foreign Ministry was sent to the World Health Organization head Walter Kazadi Mulumbo and 3 others of the UN's bodies, health experts, ordering them out by Friday. Bernard Tahiraja, the Foreign Affairs Assistant Minister, said the officials had been declared persona non grata, but did not give reasons. The World Health Organization's head for Africa also criticized the decision and backed the World Health Organization officials being expelled. However, the World Health Organization said it would continue to support Burundi in its battle against the virus. The vote for a successor to President Pierre Nkurunziza, whose government has repeatedly been accused of rights abuses and has previously expelled other representatives of international bodies, is scheduled for May 20th. The WHO's regional director for Africa, Matshidiso Moeti, called Mulumbo an extremely competent manager. And I quote, "We remain very willing to support their Burundi's response to COVID-19, he said at a news conference in the Ethiopian capital, Addis Ababa. Unlike many other African nations, Burundi has no lockdown measures in place at all, and reporting from the country is too sparse to tell how badly strained the healthcare system might be. Yeah, well, whatever ad lib you want to add to it, we have to remember that the World Health Organization, funded by Bill Gates, who's just a nice billionaire who has no ulterior motives at all after being sued by the U.S. government and then coming in as a charitable guy suddenly out of nowhere and is like late 40s, early 50s. Anyway, it's headed by Tedros, World Health Organization. Tedros was the head of one of the heads of the Ethiopian Communist Party, which massacred tons of people. And, of course, the World Health Organization and its counterpart, and it's branched off from, of course, the United Nations, is heavily connected to China. China is a globalist, technocratic, fascio-communist dictatorship, and they've been working with the U.S. to shift power over there for many years as a guinea pig state for complete totalitarianism, technocracy, and social credit. And we can't forget how China has been affecting Africa. China has been attempting to take over the continent of Africa for years. Takeover trap. Why imperialist China is invading Africa. China has been essentially loaning money to countries all over Africa, and I've seen this myself being in Africa in third world countries where there's Chinese lettering everywhere, where they loan more money than the countries can afford to pay back. And then, just like the IMF has done for years, and the U.S. has been involved in this as well, and then when they can't pay it back, China comes in and takes over their resources and then owns their country. And interestingly enough, well, you could see this, China steps in as Zambia runs out of loan options. They've been doing it across the board. But interestingly enough, the British government lately has been making similar claims over businesses within Britain, where all these small businesses get loans, and then they say those loans can't be paid back. Obviously, they're going to be in debt. So instead of them paying back the debt, the government will take over equity in their companies. That's fascism, my friends. That's absolute fascism, and we're supposed to just go, oh, well, they're just doing whatever they can to save these companies. They're destroying these companies. They're destroying the global economy. They are purposely forcing people into complete enslavement, which then leads to people begging for help. They're desperate. They need food. They need to help their family, but they're not allowed to. And they say, if you want to leave your house, you need to be tracked everywhere. Forced vaccinated. Trump said that he was deploying the military for forced vaccinations, and you have to assume it's forced vaccinations when you deploy the military, and Canada's talking about forced vaccinations. This is a global takeover, my friends, and this is why I got demonetized. So I hope you guys can help out any way you can, so make sure to check the links below, join our new newsletter at iambanned.com, and help us out on Patreon, Subscribestar, GoFundMe any way you can. It's the only thing keeping us alive right now. We are user-funded because we refuse to toe the line of the Communist Chinese World Health Organization, funded by a eugenicist who wants nothing more than complete control over every single human being on the planet. It's biblical, isn't it? Anyway, I really appreciate everyone joining us. Like this video and go to Flote and BitChute. We need you guys on the other platforms. I'm also on Library at @WAM now. Just please go to the other platforms. Find World Alternative Media on BitChute. Find @WAM and @Josh Sigurdson on Flote. It's about time, guys. This is the end game. We're here. It's time to start fighting. It's time to start shouting. It's time to start getting louder than we ever have been before. This is a war, and it's a war on you. And this isn't about fear-mongering. This is about cracking down on the greatest attack on free will in the history of humanity. Remember, they're going to say everything's going to get better. They're going to let people walk outside. Let, quote unquote. It's a terrible thing to say let. But anyway, they're going to allow people to go outside under the guise of being tracked everywhere and force vaccinated. And those that refuse, they're going to let go for a while. They're going to say that's all right. And then what's going to happen? There's going to be some fake second wave. And everyone is going to be forced back into their home, and they're going to say, see, we told you, you have to listen to us. Be dependent. Be slaves. To the World Health Organization, which works with Bill Gates, which also works with Fauci. And Fauci had a funding experiment done for years at the Wuhan Institute of Virology, where they study coronavirus in bats with millions of dollars from the U.S. government granted to them to study coronavirus in bats that's 96% similar to the novel coronavirus. And literally the study was done into how to spread it to humans. We need you guys' help any way you can. We really appreciate it, guys. We'll go into this much more in the future. Until next time, this is Josh Sigurdson signing out from World Alternative Media. Find the truth, be the change. Like what you see here, don't forget to check the links below. GoFundMe, Patreon, Subscribestar. We really can't do it without you. We've been so insanely shadow banned, about 90% at this point, and 95% demonetized. As Susan Wojcicki, the CEO of YouTube, comes in and says that she is shutting down quote-unquote controversial content and cutting out the views on this controversial content by 70%. She's been bragging about it. We need your help more than ever in this battle for truth in information. You guys are what keeps us alive, so we really appreciate just even $1 a month makes a huge difference. If everyone could give just $1 a month, we wouldn't even have to worry about competing against a mainstream propaganda networks. You can also donate to our Bitcoin address on the screen for you to scan if you please, as well as in the comments and description. Liking and sharing makes a big difference as well, and finding us on alternative social media platforms like flote.app, that's flote.app, makes a huge difference. We're at Josh Sigurdson as well as at Wham. Flote is replacing Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, Tumblr, Reddit, and Patreon all in one with encrypted private messaging, and of course monetization on videos for creators, live streams with super chats in crypto, and most of all, no algorithm, because at the end of the day, it's all about reach, guys. This is all about actually reaching people with the message and waking up the public. You can also find us on Instagram, Twitter, Minds, BitChute, all sorts of different platforms. Try to follow us on as many things as possible, because very soon this channel will very likely just be completely deleted from YouTube, and you'll never see us again, and you'll be stuck with only the mainstream networks. Also, come on out and see us at Anarcho Vegas 2020 in Las Vegas, Nevada in July, where such speakers such as G. Edward Griffin and many others will be speaking. You could use promo code WHAM on your VIP tickets and save 10%, as well as buy extremely cheap tickets for just $20.20. You won't find a cheaper conference than this with such amazing names. Check anarchovegas.com for more information on that. We hope to see you out there. And anyway, I really appreciate all of you guys joining us. You make it possible for us to survive in this volatile, propagandized climate. Until next time, this is Josh Sigurdson signing out from World Alternative Media. Find the truth, be the change.
I'm sure you have already changed people's minds in your young age because you're involved, and I like that.